Three, two, we are live. All right, let's go ahead and check Facebook to make sure everything is streaming correctly. I don't see it yet. Let me hit refresh.
Where would you like me to share this?
You could put it on your wall, and yes, we are streaming. So I'm going to go ahead and share this to my wall right now, and you can do the same. If you go to my profile, actually, it's not going to let me put it on my page. Let me see. Yep, here we go. Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay.
All the little details, right, of the technology. That's part of the lessons learned, I think.
Absolutely. So if I see there's one person already on, so I'm just going to acknowledge them. Hello, how are you? My name is Katie Smith. I'm a coach at going into gospel-centered counseling, actually. And my heart and my guest's heart is to help you and equip you for the calling that God has in your life and on your life. So I've been pursuing really walking into this calling on my own for the last 3 years. Prior to that, my husband and I worked together for a nonprofit for many years. We absolutely loved it, but health and other things got in the way. And so I had to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And so what I do now is I'm on a mission to inspire 1 million young ladies to start their prayer journal habit. Just published a book about that. But really, the reason I'm on a mission is because prayer journaling changed my life. And so I want to equip as many people as possible. I'm also a coach. And so I recently had an event and I learned a lot from doing that event. And the whole point of doing events, and my guest will agree with me in just a minute, I know she's going to be right on board with this, is that we want to inspire and encourage the next generation of people. We feel responsible for being the adults now. We are the adults in our generation. And so it's just a wonderful thing to step fully into that and just say, okay, if I'm responsible for what's happening in the culture right now, in as much as I'm a voice, I'm a light, I'm a child of God, and I have a passion to help others, what does it look like to serve God with the unique story that I have? What does it look like to serve God with the unique skills that I have? And so without further ado, I want to introduce to you one of my very dearest friends. Her name is Gina Peth. She is a senior level tech expert working even in the government. She's incredible insight on a professional level of what's happening on the internet right now in terms of how it affects our minds and addiction. And then she also has a passion, and that is to help families and individuals break free from screen addiction. And so Gina just did an event this past weekend in person. Thank you for not doing it on screens. But Gina just did an event in person last weekend. She had over 40 people in attendance. I can't remember if it was 40 or 60. Gina will tell us that in a minute. She's also a mom of 7, amazing human being. Gina, I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you, Katie. I'm really looking forward to share these experiences and my knowledge with as many parents and individuals as I possibly can. I thank you for the opportunity today.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're a screen time safety coach. Tell us what that means, and then what was your event about?
Sure. So I started venturing out into really helping families actually before COVID, and then during COVID, it really took off because that became more of an issue with everybody getting a screen sent home, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of deem myself as a screen time safety coach because I help parents understand all the safety measures that they need to know, not just the screen and what's behind the screen, but just even the physical and emotional and mental health that screens are doing to our families. So I have been doing online events, which is kind of, good, but I'm trying to get away from screens and I'm trying to teach everyone to not be in front of a screen all the time. Yeah. So it was really super exciting that I was given this great opportunity in a local arena to put on a local live in-person event. It felt really good to get back into a community and connect with people. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing. So I know that you help people break those chains, break the screen habits, and you help parents reconnect with their kids and understand boundaries and all the things that not just COVID, but just, I don't know, the last I don't know, 20, 25, 30 years, there's just been such a shift in culture and you know, we're all the frogs in the pot as we go, right? Like we don't necessarily see all the changes that are happening. Okay,
Exactly.
so for those who are watching, so I'm 3 years into this journey of you know, speaking and wanting to make an impact with my story. And then Gina, you're I think you're about a year and a half in. Is
Yep.
that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about this in-person event. What was your goal? How did you do it? What went wrong and what went right? I know I'm stacking questions. You should never stack questions. But any of the angles. So like tell us what was your favorite thing about your event that went well. Let's start there.
Okay, so my favorite thing of the event was the connection, and I really wanted to engage with people because I feel like that in-person engagement has just been void for so long.
Mhm.
And so when I started the event, I kind of did a ninja move that I learned from my coach, James Melanchek, and that was to start from the back of the room and walk out talking and engaging and asking questions to the audience. And what was really amazing, there was two really cool things that happened during that time. And I did this throughout the whole entire talk, but at the beginning was that the teenagers were willing to answer my questions.
Mm.
That was really impactful for me because I kind of thought, I don't know how they're going to take this. A lot of teenagers look at me as, I'm going to come and tell their parents to take their device away.
Mhm.
And so they're a little nervous, but they engaged. And I was really also surprised that there was a lot of adults that were engaging because they themselves came to the seminar I was doing for themselves, not necessarily for their children, but they knew they had issues with screen time. And so right from the very beginning, I was getting information from the audience that I knew I needed to stack while I was on stage and talk to that right from the beginning.
Okay, so when you say stack on stage, what exactly does that mean?
So I already had an outline. I already had, a slide deck of what I was going to be doing. Because what I normally talk about now is what I'm deeming as the CPR for screen time addiction. And so I kind of go through that process. Well, when I asked those questions and I got the engagement, I realized I needed to answer some of those questions and address some of their issues within the talk and utilize that. So it made sense. So it's kind of gauging what the audience was really looking for.
Oh man, that is
Yeah.
great. So I'm taking notes. So if you see me looking down, typing on my phone, I'm typing notes that we'll post with this video later. But that is amazing. I love. So what I hear you saying is like you started from the back of the room and you're addressing the issue of content. So I came up with this little acronym for moving forward in your business or your influence, your ministry, whatever it is that you're trying to grow when you do events or lead magnets or trying to get people more involved, you need what I call mock. So imagine a jet, maybe you saw the recent Maverick movie, the jets in the sky and all that stuff is really fun. I love that movie. It was great. But mock stands for marketing offer content. So if something's not going right with your event, you either need more marketing, you need to look at your marketing, you need to look at your offer, or you need to look at the content. So what I hear you addressing first, Gina, is the content part of it. Let's unless there's something, is there something more about content that you wanted to talk about before? I would love to ask you, how did you get people there? And that would be under marketing. So
let's jump to the marketing because I learned a lot.
Yeah. So tell me, was it so easy? Did you just like wave a magic wand and people just showed up in the room?
Yeah. So let's first start with how I even got the gig to do the speaking, right? So I had to market like 6 months ago. I contacted this group and I met with the leadership and I marketed to them first. And then they invited me back to do this event. So that's
when you marketed them, what does that mean? Like you went and said, "Hey, can I do an informational interview with you?"
Yeah.
Or
well, it was a paid event. So I had each of the leaders come and they paid $75 to come and hear me kind of pitch what I wanted to share with them because I really wanted the community to hear it. And I knew that they were thought leaders and they're ones that were making the decisions. And so I met with them first and then they called me back and said, okay, hey, we want you to come. And we want to make this a full community event and we're going to sponsor.
Wow. So are you saying that you paid them to listen to you pitch? Is that
No,
what you said?
they paid me. They each attended my conference was just a leader conference and each person paid to hear what I had to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know this was your first in-person event, but it sounds like you've had a bunch of other events as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So most of my events are all online because of COVID. But the leadership event that I did was in person as well. But it was very small, and it was very, very targeted to just exploring what the community needed to know and helping the leaders understand that they actually had a role in kind of coming alongside a mom on a mission to help the community. And so that was where it first started, was to get the gig. And so once they said, hey, we want you, then it went through a series of changes. And so pivot. So they first wanted me
What
to
do you
come
mean? Can you give me an example of one of the changes that you had to pivot on?
Yeah. So they wanted me to come in September originally. And then it became, actually it was August. And then it became September. And then it became finally October. And so I had to adjust.
Was that hard?
It was a little bit, because I wasn't sure, how to start marketing, right? Because things kept changing. And I was like, if I'm going to market, I need to know way ahead of time, right? And so I think one of the things that I learned about the whole marketing piece was those that were calling me in to do this event weren't as educated as what we should be doing for marketing. And so getting the information way ahead of time so I could hit the ground running, on time. So that was a big learning curve of communicating to them, like, hey, I need to know this date months in advance so I can plan.
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard you say. Helping your event planners market, that you might have to coach them along in that. And just, it sounds like a lot of communication. Did you ever feel frustrated or were you already in a place, like, you're so far along in doing events, you're like, oh no, it's fine. Like, we're going to just change the event 3 times.
No, that part, because I knew the venue and I knew, and I've been doing my talk for so many times, that part wasn't really as difficult as making sure that the right people were going to be able to make it in the room, right? So parents are really busy. October can be a really busy month. And so making sure that I had enough lead time to really market. And there were a lot of oopses along the way of the marketing piece that made me at the last minute kind of like had to really figure out how to pivot to get people to fill the room.
Okay. Tell me about one of those oopses at the last minute that you had to pivot to get people to fill the room.
So one of the
it happens to everyone. I think it must happen to everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. And so one of the things that I was trying to do was I really wanted to market to the school districts. And so ahead of time, probably like 2 months ahead of time, I figured out how do the schools get content like this to parents. And they use a product called Peach Jar. And so there's this process where you have to submit your flyer to Peach Jar, and then it costs money. And then they submit it to the schools, and then the schools have to approve it, and then it gets sent out. So it's usually like a 2-week window.
Okay. So I haven't heard of Peach Jar before. Is that just regional, or like, what is that?
I don't think it's just regional. I think they are a company that helps manage media that's going to go back and forth to parents from schools. So they take the school email list, and then they manage sending out the blasts for the school. And it's at a cost for the people who are putting on the event. So that it doesn't cost for the schools.
Okay. Your process for marketing is very different from what I just did. So it's going to be fun to share the differences. So, okay. So first you went to leaders and had events with them, and then they got to know you and see you. And then you started to you thought about who your niche market is. It's parents, it's kids and school districts looking for opportunities there. But what happened with the week before your event? What happened that made you go, I've got to do something differently? Like, what were some of the things that you did to get the word out?
Well, okay. So we started out with Peach Jar, right? Well, we didn't realize. So Peach Jar, we submitted to them, and they took 3 weeks to get back to me to tell me that they were denied.
Were you like having a heart attack? Because I did.
I was like, that was a pretty significant investment for me to do. And I was willing to do that because I really wanted to get the word out and get people as many.
So they charged you for putting it
out.
They
charged me for putting it out there. And, but when you get denied, they reimburse your money, but you're like, well, that's really late in the game now because I've got like a week and a half. And so they denied my flyer, and the communication was really broken down. It didn't tell me like if I could resubmit or what to do. So I resubmitted because I was at that point where this was going to go out to about 20 different schools. It was going to hit between 5,000 to 10,000 people. And so this was going to be the big bang for the buck, right?
Yeah.
And it ended up flying out. And so I resubmitted, and they took another week, and it only got approved for parts of some schools.
Wow.
And so the schools didn't get it sent out until 2.5 days before my event.
Oh my word. So I would have like been having a heart attack. So I know that you did some really gritty last minute pivots that I think saved you, because how many people came to your event?
60.
60.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm remembering is that, and I'm not sure if this is exactly how it went, but the perception I had was that you were like, I've got to make something happen here. There's a community event happening on Saturday. I'm going to go print out flyers and just hand them out and see what happens. Was that one of the things that you did?
Yeah, we did do that. We got flyers, and we went to like the Boys and Girls Clubs and YMCA and some different organizations. And what the key thing that kind of flipped the switch for us is that there was a volunteer in the community who is a marketing manager through Facebook and other and Instagram, and she came alongside. So she was like, "Hey, what if I help you out?" Within a week, she was able to flip my business page around and make it professional. She was able to get me another professional presence on Facebook, and created ads for me, took my content and flipped it all into ads, made some videos. It got the word out and spread it as fast as we possibly could. And so that was helping me provide content that other people could share online, because wasn't going that route at first. I was thinking I'm going to go the route of getting the community through Peach Jar.
Yeah.
So that was a really quick pivot, and I didn't know much. So it was a huge learning curve for me.
Okay, so just want to acknowledge, hey, Terry, thank you for watching. Mary, thank you for stopping by. It's good to hear from you guys. Yeah, we want to know who's watching. And if you have any questions that come up, let us know. We're going to be talking about that too. So, so this is very interesting to me. So let me ask you, were you able to directly find out if the people that were in the room came from the ads? Were you able to track that, or was it at this point, no?
It was a little difficult because we weren't prepared for that. And so at the end, I did ask people, and I did collect some information right on site. And so I don't really know how many people saw the ads. I think what the ads did for me was boosted my confidence, because I'll tell you, Katie, I was like, I'm going to walk into this building and there's not going to be anybody there. I was really afraid. But to see that people were seeing the ads and connecting through the ads, that it gave me some hope. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep going. But I do know that Peach Jar did get out, because there was a couple of families that came from there, which was really encouraging to me too, because I will use that again and make sure that I start way ahead of time. But most of them came from the community center that was putting this event on, because they were more engaged with the community center itself. And so that's where majority of the people came.
Oh, wow. And it sounds like it saved you. So did you go into this feeling like you knew everything to do?
Oh, no.
No. And I'm so glad you said that. Because
my role, right, as a speaker, like I knew I needed to make sure that the mics worked and the cameras worked and that the stage presence, and I scoped out the environment ahead of time. So I felt really confident there. But as far as the flow and the people coming in and how that was going to work, so we offered free childcare, we offered a free lunch, and we offered a teen breakout room. Wow. And there was a lot of communication breakdown with the community center, because people were out, people were sick. I mean, it was like every day, every week, it was like finding out new information. And so now I've learned from that, I've created like a checklist that I will now use to make sure that I'm verifying even throughout the weeks prior to the event, instead of the last couple of days.
And Marian just said, this is so interesting to hear about the details, the struggles and the wins. Thank you, Marian. Yeah. Exactly. So we're talking about marketing, offer, and content. If your message isn't getting out the way you want it to, then my signature process that I talk about is Mach. You need more Mach, just like a jet needs fuel, and they go Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3. You need the same thing in your events and in your business, and so that's what Gina is sharing, is just the marketing, but then the stuff that broke down. And what I hear a lot of is mindset.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if you are walking around feeling like you're going to be rejected in life anyway, and then you have all these problems, like the temptation to quit is going to be huge. And so I feel like what you are sharing, Gina, is so important for those who also have a vision and a calling for what they're trying to share. Because if they think it's just them going through this hardship, it's going to be really tough. So let me pivot for just a sec. And so Gina's event was in person. My event was online, and I had a very different experience, which I would love to share real quickly. So my event was about vision and goals, and it was an all-day online retreat. And I wanted to use technology to promote it. And I had seen Facebook ads be successful in the past. And kind of at the last minute, I had an investor come along and say, I'll give you a certain number of dollars to get some ads up and running. And I know my numbers. So I know that, if you need 20 people on your event to opt in for what you're offering, you need at least 200 to be on the event. You need at least 2,000 to register for the event. You need at least 20,000 to see it. And so I knew those numbers in my head, but I used a ClickFunnels, which I love because it overcomes the frustration of the buyer. It overcomes the frustration of the buyer. So what a ClickFunnels does, it's like a website, but what it does is it goes through the psychological barriers that somebody has when they look at your website. And if you want to know about that, message me because I have a referral link for you. So, that's why I like it. But I couldn't get my ClickFunnels all together. I hadn't tried to do a ClickFunnels in 2 years, and I was trying to do it all myself. And I wanted email integration to be able to email people, and I wanted text to be able to text people. And I was able to get everything integrated up and running, and my ad written and tested. And so I knew that my ad was good because it got responses right away. So I put a couple $100 behind an ad, and about the day before the event, by the way, the day before the event. And I was like, this is crazy, but I'm going to try this anyway. So I did. And unfortunately, like I had 400 people click the link and not one registered. So for $350 in ad spend, 400 people clicked it, nobody registered. And I was like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong because at least 1% will opt in. Okay. So at least 1%, which would have been 4 people. No, I think maybe, yeah, that's right. 4 people. So not even 4 people opted in. So I immediately, and by the way, right now, Facebook has, they will assign you a marketing expert to work with you as you plan out your ads because they've seen a lot of people drop off recently. So off of ads, doing ads through Facebook.
Wow.
And so they really want to cultivate a relationship where you win with your ads and it's successful.
That's great.
So it is amazing. So I'm like, Rochelle, because that's my person at Facebook. Rochelle, there's something wrong with my ads. And I'm like, what should I do? Should I stop it? And she's like, I don't know. Yeah, stop it because I don't know what's wrong. So she's not a tech person. And I'm like, oh no. So I stopped the ad and I switched the ad settings from click the link to go to the next page, which is where you can register, to engagements. And by doing that, I saved part of my investment. I was able to put a couple $100 on the next ad, and then I had to wait like 4 hours. So now it's like 8:00 at night, the night before my event. And I'm like, what is even going to happen? Jesus, take the wheel. And I'm like praying. And I had like, I think I had like 29 people who had registered organically, like friends and family and stuff like that. People who knew me from other things. And so 29 registered. I'm like, this is not good. And so I wake up the next morning and I had 800 likes on my ad. And I'm like, this is good
That's
because
good.
you can follow up with every single like.
Wow,
So
that's
even
great.
if they don't come to your event, you now have a connecting point. And I got permission from Facebook to personally send a message to every single one of those people. They told me they would not flag me for doing that. I'm like, oh, I've got permission. So now I'm working with Facebook now to like figure out what the technical problem was. They said it was something to do with the connection to the website, but the problem is I know that the website was working. The ClickFunnels was working. So it was a problem on Facebook side, and it was an automatic problem. It wasn't like somebody looked at my ad and said, this is a problem. It was like I triggered something in their system, and they're changing their system all the time, which is why it's so great to have somebody you could actually talk to
Yeah.
and have an ally there, so you're not like wasting money. So at the end of the day, I learned a ton about using Facebook ads again. You can even get certified in Facebook ads for free. And I didn't know that. I just found that out through trial and error. So that what to me was like the biggest learning was the robot at Facebook flagged my ad, wouldn't let people register. And what do you do now? So I still did my event. It was amazing. I had my content was solid. I knew my offer. I made my offer. And actually, I'll just tell you, I had nobody opt in from my event, but then I had somebody that I followed up with the following Monday, because you always follow up with people.
Yeah.
Always follow up, even if they don't attend. Just say, hey, how are you? I know you didn't come because of blah, blah, blah. You were at a wedding or you were doing, in this case, she was doing her own event. And I spoke with her on Monday. I was like, well, how'd your event go? And so we talked about it. Anyway, long story short, she's like, I want to work with you. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. This is all. So, so you just never know how it's going to go, but keeping that mindset of how can I maximize this event? So, Gina, going back to you and the outcomes of your event, what was one of the outcomes that you had from your event that you were really happy about?
Yeah, so I'm going to piggyback really quickly on your experience with Facebook, because we experienced some tricky things too. And so that's part of the learning curve, is that Facebook is always making changes. So even though I was working with an expert who does this for other businesses, she was running into issues. Our ads weren't working either. There was times where they weren't showing up, they would just disappear. And so it was all kinds of complications there. So you weren't alone in that. I think that that happens, but I didn't realize I could have actually called, talked to somebody at Facebook and said, hey, help me out. So that was great information. So I appreciate that tip.
Good, yeah.
As far as outcomes go, you know what, Katie, I think almost at least 90% of the people that signed up, that went to my page and signed up, showed up.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was really incredible. So what we did was we took registration at the door. So we had everyone sign up at the door. And then Terry, who assisted me, she was also there and was a speaker. She combined that with a form we had people fill out, and then we combined it with the registrations. And there was only like 6 to 8 different people who weren't in the system already. So most people showed up who said they were going to show up. So that's really rare. I have to acknowledge that kind of solidifies that this really is what my topic is really needed, and that people really want the information because they're going to sign up and show up, which is huge, right? So that was really awesome. Wow. And then I did follow up. I sent out an email. And I've had a couple of people clicking on, the content, because it's to a free download of what they can, the first step of what parents can do or any individuals can do to help them start navigating screen time management. And I have 2 people who booked a free call with me, and the first one's today. So,
congratulations!
Yeah,
that's great. That's great. I'm so happy that's how it went. So, I really appreciate you sharing, because, I'm over here pivoting left and right. And I don't know about you, Gina, but if you share your life like in a normal Bible study group or a normal group, and you're not surrounded by like-minded people, this happened to me last night where they looked at me. This lady was like feeling really embarrassed about, there were some apps that she didn't know about. And the icebreaker question was about apps. And she was feeling really embarrassed that she didn't know about them. And I was like, oh, don't feel embarrassed at all. And she's still like, I could just see it. She just felt like mortified, like everybody else in the world knows technology and I don't. And I'm like, okay, let me just tell you something. So when I was trying to set up this live, I was on the line with StreamYard. A professional from StreamYard was literally walking me through the steps, and I still had to try to make this event happen 5 different times. So if you got pinged 5 times with me saying we're doing this today, I am so sorry. It wasn't my fault. Let me pass the blame. A perfect leader move. I'm going to pass the blame. But the reality is, just like Gina said, that technology is really constantly changing. And so I think it's really helpful to know, like, it's really helpful for me to know, like, okay, no, I'm not totally incompetent, because that's one of the lies you might hear is like, you're so incompetent. Who's going to trust you? And you have to just say, you know what? If people don't understand these platforms any better than I do, I really can't take their opinions personally. You know, and even if you're tired and you're making mistakes, that happened for me this week too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There's some moments under tiredness.
Well, and the technology piece is really tricky too. So even in a live event, so I was used to using Canva, making Canva presentations and just doing it really easily. And so I embed video in Canva. And so when it gets to that screen, it just kicks off and starts playing the video for me. And I kind of time, you know, my talk. Well, I show up to the place, and they're trying to run this Canva stream, and it's not working. They can't start my videos. And so right from the beginning, I'm like, okay. So I stepped back and I was like, okay. And I'm techie. So I was like, okay, I can problem solve this. I just need to get in the right mindset that I can, and not start panicking and thinking,
right. No, don't panic.
Right. No panicking is not allowed. And so being able to troubleshoot with the engineers and say, okay, well, I need this video and I need this video. If these ones don't play, I can talk through them, and that's okay. But these other ones are like really like key to my talk. And so we, you know, figured out and made some tweaks and got it to work. But that was like an hour before I'm going to go on stage. And that was not something I mentally prepared for. And so even, you know, in the in-person world, there's different things. And then we started with one mic and had to go to 2. And so there was just different things of like, you know, just making those quick pivots and adjustments and not letting it look like I'm thrown off. I'm acting like, you know, in the audience, no one realizes that I'm confused because I'm just keep talking, you know. And then we had this clicker, and the clicker, you have to, when a video played, I had to pause and count to 13 in my head before I would click, because there was an issue that if I did that, it wouldn't work, and then it'd be stuck. And we just discovered this right before. So technology, you know, it can trigger in any format, whether you're doing, you know, streaming or in live in person.
Yeah, I was really grateful that I didn't have any problems past the tech issues with the ads. I was really grateful for that. But just getting to that point was, so that would be under the marketing piece of marketing offer content. And it was just, I mean, I'm still recovering just from learning the tech. So for those who are watching, like, you know, if you have an opportunity to hire somebody to help you, do it. If they're going to make your life easier while you're learning this, definitely hire them. But also, it's, even if you are planning on hiring somebody, it is priceless to know this stuff.
Yeah, we didn't hire Marlena, but she came on as a volunteer.
Oh, nice.
And she was even coaching us, like, okay, I'm going to post this ad, or I'm going to post this video, and then I'm going to boost it, and then you guys got to all jump on and click on it and like make a comment, and you have to do it within the first 20 minutes, because there's this magic window that if you post something and boost, then within that 20 minutes, you just tell all your friends, whether they're coming or not, to like it, to make comments, and then that boosts and boosts and boosts, and then, you know, how the Facebook magic works. And that was time consuming, because that was within a couple of days of my event. It was kind of the last minute, like, get myself out there. And it wasn't something I planned time around. And so that really cut into my preparation time.
Yeah.
But you got to do what you're going to do. So
yeah. I love that you are sharing this. I love your heart so much, and I love your mission. And I feel like if my hair wasn't already gray, I definitely earned some gray hair in the past 8 weeks, trying to not just pull off my own event, but all the things that go with being somebody who's on a mission to serve others, and doing it as a solopreneur or a solo ministry person or whatever it is. It's a lot. So we talked about marketing a little bit. We talked about content a little bit. We didn't really go deep on content, but so we did mention offer. And so for those who are listening, so Gina's offer was to opt in for, what was that, like a conversation with you?
Yeah, there was two levels. One was to opt in and get the fast action guide on how to really understand how much time you're spending on a device.
Okay. So was it like an assessment?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was taught them how. It was a step-by-step. This is how you look on your device and find the
Oh,
information.
wow.
Yeah. And then if they wanted, once they got to that, they could also then opt in for a free call with me to kind of talk strategy with themselves. So I think that was really key. Is I had 4 adults come to me afterwards and said, they work too much and they're on the screens too much. And even during the event itself, I took the opportunity to kind of do some mindset work with one of the people that, made a comment about that, and kind of, work through the mindset that she felt she couldn't stop and get off screens. And so we kind of talked some blocks there.
Ooh, such a good topic. I've been wanting to interview you just about your topic for a really long time. So I think I might even pivot now. And then like when I put this up on YouTube, I'll just split the video so that we have like the tech marketing behind the scenes stuff. And then we have what you do if you don't need to go right now. So we're like at the halfway mark. Are you good to stay on, Gina?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay. We have some moments here. Teresa's comments. Teresa's saying, sometimes I feel like it's a spiritual attack when the tech, should work, doesn't at a critical point. Absolutely. And it's absolutely a test too. I would say it's a test to see, are you going to trust God in that moment? Are you going to, like, I've had to, it's so funny. I went to a parenting thing about raising anxiety-free kids. And really it was about being a parent who can manage your own anxiety. And so they gave us some tools to use. I want to share one real quick, but yes, it is a spiritual attack. And so one thing that I learned that even yesterday, I'm like, just God, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Nobody's going to, die because of this, but it's called box breathing. Have you heard of box breathing, Gina?
Yeah. Yep.
Where you you draw 1, 2, 3, 4, like you draw on your leg, this box, right? And you inhale for the first line. So, and then you exhale slowly and then go down and then exhale. And I love that. And you do it twice and you feel like amazing. So you don't necessarily have to draw the box, but sometimes it's nice to have that mental image. But if you're in the middle of a tech meltdown, just take a minute, just get recentered, get your breath back. Breath is really critical to managing anxiety.
Yeah. And I would recommend drawing the box, because what I've learned in my research about the brain is that really engages the whole brain in a different way. And it gets you out of the shutdown mode, and it gives you language even to understand what the emotions you're feeling. So I would say, if you can't, no one's going to pay attention, even if you're drawing it on your hand, right? But it's just that extra cognitive connection to your brain.
That's really good. So you don't think somebody would look at you and be like, that lady's crazy? She's trying to find
you could do it like this, right? You could do it right? Yeah.
I'm thinking right now.
I think if people who know anxiety and have experienced anxiety,
yeah,
I would say it's probably more crazy to act out in your anxiety than it would be to draw a box to calm down.
Whoa.
Right? So I deal with a lot of families that are really struggle with anxiety, and usually anxiety comes out with anger bursts, with emotional breakdowns. And if it's literally just draw a box, and I tell families, have their kids walk up and down the hall, because you need to reboot that brain so that language and emotions can connect. So then they have something to talk about. Otherwise they can't explain what's going on.
That was so rich. That was so good. If you are still with us, and you are, I know we can see that people are watching, please say, yes, that was awesome. Because I was believing a lie that if somebody saw me do that, I would look crazy. And Gina put a spotlight on the reality that no, losing your stuff is crazy, but drawing a box is life-giving. So
you can say that. And if someone's asking you what you're doing, you're saying you can then educate, right?
Educate. Yes.
Yeah.
Use it as an opportunity to enrich the people around you.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, that is good and deep. So, so good. Oh, I really appreciate that. It was so good. Okay. So, all right, we've got some fun comments here. Terry saying, yes, that was amazing. Thank you, Terry. And Mary said, yes, that was awesome. So thank you for sharing that, Gina. Really, really was awesome. Really good. Oh, yeah. And Terry saying priceless. I agree. I agree. I have our teenage son is taking a graduation exam on Saturday in California, and we're actually flying there tomorrow.
Wow.
And I'm like, we need to like go over this mindset stuff. And he's like, nah, I'm good. But I'm like, I need to go over this mindset stuff. I was never a good test taker. And I think it was because it's only in this season of my life where I'm like, no, I'm determined to deliver the message that God has given me to deliver. And so I have to figure out how to manage the internal storm, whatever it is. And so I just really appreciate you sharing that.